Hello, I'm RJ City, and you are listening to the MonsterCast. You're going to talk about Bela Lugosi. They're going to talk about Lon Chaney Jr. be so sad, holding his hat, saying, "Please put me in this room and don't unlock the door." And you can't do any better than the Dahl brothers. Jack and Ryan, they're brothers, but they're also bros. What? Pardon? Wrestling. Well, who the hell wants to talk about wrestling? These are horror movies. It's a deep genre. It's a smart genre. Fantastic actors. Fantastic cinematography. Wrestling is just sweating and fireworks and bouncy ropes. There's nothing to how you talk about that every week. All right. Let's see them try. Take it away, you crazy dolls.
You.
Jesus fuck my fucking ass. What the fuck? Please shut up.
No. Master Watto is a
shut
champion.
up.
You're gonna put some respect
Stop
on his
fucking
name
saying
now.
Master Watto on this fucking show.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight Co-Champion.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Apple Fightful here. You're watching the MonsterCast with Jack and Ryan. A big shout out to those fellas. Good people. Check them out.
Oh my god, what is this?
It looks like a
making
TV.
The New Japan titles. They need to stop making
It's like
titles.
a TV, bro. They took it too literally. That's the problem.
They should have just turned it into a TV. I would have been more impressed.
That would have been cooler.
Put some
Make
antennas
it-
on the top.
No, just make it like a digital title. Like you could display whatever you want on the
Oh,
digital.
like an
title.
LCD screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then have
That'd
the
be sick as
picture
fuck.
of the person that's the champ. That'd be so good.
Oh fuck.
That'd be worth it.
Wrestling podcast. How fucking original.
Jake and Brian, Brandon Cutler here from AEW, and I hope you guys have an awesome podcast with the MonsterCast. What was that? Your name is Jack and Ryan? Shut up, Jack and Ryan.
Tell me who you would sign first.
Hiroshi Tanahashi.
No, not overall, genius. Between the two goddamn examples I'm about to give you.
Master Watto.
Killer Cross or Dominic Dijakovic, who are you signing first?
Killer Cross. 100%.
What the fuck?
Absolutely.
Wrong! That
No,
answer is
I would.
wrong.
I would.
Oh
Killer Cross.
my god.
You don't know shit! Your opinions suck!
I guess I mean, you're welcome.
Fuck,
See,
I'll boo it.
I don't think I've ever said boo.
I would.
That's so stupid.
I'll do it. Boo! You don't actually say the word because that's why it sounds weird. You gotta, it's like more like a note. Boo! You don't fucking actually say boo. Boo! 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 You don't turn it into a fucking chant. You actually have to.
I will. I'm gonna do that at Forbidden Doors.
You start a boo chant. Boo! 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 Boo!
Here's your host of the MonsterCast, the Straight Edge Monster Jack and Ryan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MonsterCast. I'm your host, the Straight Edge Monster Jack. That is Ryan. We have a huge show for you today. AEW Full Gear review, of course, and more. Got the beard still going, obviously, through this month. I might rock it till through December as well. I don't know yet. I haven't made up my mind, but I'm looking pretty good. I'm gonna have to update the chibi graphics at the bottom if I keep it much longer. Anyway, I will not be talking a lot on the show. That might be for the best, considering the things that I said about the AEW signing that we'll get into in a minute. Ryan will probably be talking a lot more. I went to a hockey game Saturday night, and here's one of the. Actually, I have one of the pucks that hit me in the head right here. This is it's just a foam puck. It was a thing that they did. They wrote like people's tickets or whatever, seat numbers or something. I don't fucking know on them, and everybody just threw them into the ice. And not all of them made it to the ice. Let's just say. So I got pegged with like 3 or 4 of them in the head. And yeah, even though they're foam, coming from way up top when I'm on the glass, it did not feel good. But anyway, I have strained my vocal cords immensely. They are still recovering. Also, really hurt the fuck out of my right hand, pounded on the glass a lot. I got into it pretty good. We got destroyed, the team that we're supposed to be going for. They lost 5-2, but we were 2-0 in fights, and that's where a lot of the hitting the
All that
glass came
matters.
from. It was awesome, dude. Fucking awesome. It was so fun, and even though I did hurt my throat, because I decided not to pay $7 for a 20-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola, which I probably will do next time, just because I need some lubrication going on.
Say it was $7.
$7. You know how I know? Because I bought Casino one. $7 for a Coke and like fucking $5 or $6 for a cup of popcorn. A cup, not a bucket, not a fucking bag, a cup of popcorn.
Like a
It's
drink
quite
cup?
outrageous. It was $12 for a bottle of Yingling. One glass bottle of Yingling was $12. It was asinine. To put it in perspective for people that don't drink or whatever, and because you can't really quantify a cup because you don't know what size cup I'm talking about, but just trust me, it was pretty much a regular size, like one of the plastic longer cups that you get from Walmart type deal. But to help you understand the outrageous prices a little bit more, everybody knows the theater box candy that you get for $1, right? $5 for a box for a theater box candy.
How strict are they about like
asinine.
patting you down and shit when you go in though? You can bring in bags or no?
You can bring in purses, but they are able to check them. I had to go through a metal detector, all that kind of shit. I assume that if it was a big enough purse or something, somebody would be like, "Okay, I'm checking this bag." It wasn't that serious. We got in pretty fast once we got to where we needed to go. It took a while to get there. But yeah, I was on the glass, first hockey game ever. It was really cool. I really want to talk about it, but I don't want my throat hurt for 2 more days, so I'm trying really hard not to talk about it. And I talked about it a lot last night at work to a lot of my friends. So, but it was fun as hell. So fun, in fact, that I bought 2 tickets again for January 13th. Same seats, same day of the week, same time, 6:05 p.m. Saturday. So hopefully Tony Khan doesn't announce a pay-per-view in January 13th. I don't think he will, because that's really close to that World's End, or very close to World's End, so I don't think he will. But so we should be safe. I would like to point out, though, one of the coolest moments from it, honestly, just a quick story, was the best player on our team that was playing the best that night. He was going like 100 miles an hour the entire time. I know he was annoying the fuck out of him, and he's the one that scored the first goal of the game for our team. His name was something Bond. I can't remember his first name, but something Bond. So he had a cool name too. Like number 23. As soon as the game's over and the final horn sounds for the third period and it's over, him and another guy are skating by the ref. So the ref is like the last person that they're skating by. And as soon as they do, the fucking dude on the other team trips our guy. And immediately I saw it because he's facing us. And I jump up and I start pounding glass like, what the fuck? And then everyone is up and booing, and it's so loud. So when the guy gets back up, he turns around to his teammates and tries to explain to him what happened. And because everybody's booing and it got loud out of nowhere, obviously they believe his teammate, right? So there's chippy fucking shit going on at the end of this game. It was so awesome. We're sitting on the away side. So where the away team is coming off the ice towards us, and I'm literally right there. It's Christina on the aisle, me, and then a mom and her 2 kids, and that's it. And then it's the aisle. So they're literally walking right by us. And the dude that did the tripping, he comes off, and we're all booing the shit out of him or whatever. And he stops and looks up and just waves at us and smiles, right? So I decided, hey, I'm going to give this man the double birds. So I give him the double birds right in his fucking face. He turns right to me, looks right at me, dude, and fucking blows me a kiss. And I'm like, oh, fuck you, dude. Fuck you, you dirty bitch. It was awesome. It was so fucking cool. I turned right to Christina when it happened too, and I was like, did he just fucking blow a kiss right at me? She's like, yeah, he was looking right at you, dude. I was like, this motherfucker. It was awesome, dude. It was so fun. I was like, I kind of ruined it for myself now because I can't go to a hockey game unless I'm on the glass now. Now, my hand is fucked up because I've always heard the term pound the glass. That's how I always heard it. So when I went to go hit the glass for the first time, I pounded the fucking glass with my fucking. I hammer fisted that fucking glass.
I think they do it like this, right?
Oh, they definitely do it like that.
Yeah.
Because my hand was fucked up after like 2 times doing that. Like I did it the first time a few times, right? And then I did it again. And then I'm like, I can't do that anymore. All right, that's out. Because that shit was hurting. So then I started doing the slap. But the damage had already been done. I'm still recovering from that too. That shit hurts. But yeah, man, we won both fights. Dude, the first dude, I'll tell one little more quick story because it was so good. Because I probably will forget to talk about this next week. So we had a black dude on our team. Tall, skinny black dude was going against this fat redneck looking motherfucker. They ran into our goalie, and you know in hockey that's like one of the ultimate no-nos. You don't run into our goalie. So there's a dust up. There's a dust up going on at the goal or whatever. It seemed like everything was settled down, everything was good, so they bring it out to do the face-off, and as soon as they do the face-off, these 2 motherfuckers skate away from everybody else, drop the gloves, and fucking go. And I was like, oh shit. The only 2 things I wanted to see when I went to this, I was like, I better see a goal. I need to see a fucking goal in regulation. I don't want to see no fucking shootout goal because it's 0-0. I want to see a fight. That's all. I got 2 fights and 7 goals, so I can't complain. It was fucking fun. But anyway, the skinny black dude, he fucking beats this motherfucker. And the redneck dude tried to headbutt him. He cut himself under his eye. He had to leave the fucking ice for 10 minutes. The black dude ends up winning, and he faces us. Well, our side, for some reason, had more. I feel like ours had more people on it than the home side. I mean, we're all going for the home team, but you get what I'm saying. I'm just saying where we were seated at. This motherfucker turns to us, and he looked like Kurt Angle just won the fucking world title. He was like, "Wow!" Like loud as fuck, dude. Like it was insane. And then so that got us hyped more. We're fucking banging on it. Then he gets into the sin bin, the penalty box, and he turns around in the penalty box to us again and does it again. Like he just thought he was like the fuck, and he was trying to start more fights the rest of the night because he was feeling himself. Like every time there was a dust up, he was in the middle of it trying to get somebody to fight. They eventually kicked him out of the game actually because of how many fights he was trying to start. They sent him off with about 5 minutes left or some shit. It was so good. The other fight was even better because it was a really small dude. He was number 25. Can't remember his name because when he had to put on the new jersey because that one ripped, it didn't have his name on the back of it anymore. So number 25, small dude. He was getting his ass handed to him because the dude was he did the old school pull the jersey over. And the small dude got out of the jersey, and then the small dude beat his ass. And then we went fucking nuts. And the small dude he did pretty much the same thing. It was like the only victories we had all night was just, hey, yeah, y'all beat us 5-2, and it was really 5-1 because we scored 1 late. Y'all beat us 5-2, but we won 2-0 in fights. And then I really wish the black dude was still in the game at the end when that motherfucker tripped our guy, our best player, because I guarantee you there would have been some fucking fighting going on. But it was really fucking fun. The next time they play, it won't be against that team, unfortunately, because I really want to go see them fight, go play them again, because I know they're going to remember that shit. I forgot who they play on this next one, but hopefully they're a sorrier team so we can actually get a shot, because that team was actually the number 1 team in the division that I found out later. So,
is it like a farm system for NHL, or is it just like
it's called the FPHL or some shit like that. They do have, that was Columbus. We played against the Columbus River Dragons. I kept calling them Carolina for some reason. We do have a Carolina team in this thing, the Thunderbirds or some shit. But it's Columbus, Georgia, though, not Ohio. And then there's a few other teams, too. There's 2 different divisions. One has 6 teams, one has 5. So there's 11 teams overall in this league or whatever. It was fun as hell, though. Christina said they're not as, I mean, obviously. She was like, she's been to NHL games before for the Penguins and stuff. And the Hurricanes. And she was like, "Oh, they're so much faster in the NHL." Yeah, no shit. If these guys were that fast or that good, they'd be in the NHL.
They'd be in the NHL.
Let's be real here. But it was easy for me to follow the puck. It wasn't like they were fucking 80-year-old dudes out there. They were going fast as fuck, but it just wasn't NHL speed. Like if you watch NHL on TV and you hear them pass to each other and stuff, you hear the puck hit the stick every time. In this, I'm on the fucking glass and I didn't hear the puck hit the sticks on passes every time. So that's one difference too. There's just the speed of the game is different, but it was still so fun. I don't know if I wanted it to be NHL fast if it's that big of a difference, because I don't know if I would have been able to keep up with the puck. But it was really cool. It was another cool moment. I'll say it real quick. It's a short one. She had the Coke up there, and we've got since we're right on the glass, we have a little ledge behind the glass where you can set stuff. So she put her Coke up there, and then these two motherfuckers came in. Hit.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I fucking lost you for a second because I forgot you were talking about the fucking Coca-Cola drink that you bought. And I was like, there's a ledge and she's putting her Coke on it. What the fuck are you talking
She put her Coke on the ledge, and then like about
to lose that CW deal.
Fucking 8 to 10 minutes. Way to circle it back to wrestling. 8 to 10 minutes later, these two motherfuckers come and, run right into the fucking glass, and the Coke comes shooting off towards us. It was awesome. And I was like, hey man, I paid fucking $7 for that. And there's this old couple behind us, and she was like, I thought it was $9. I was like, I know it was fucking expensive. That's what I know. And you just fucking made that bitch flat. Fucking asshole. I think my throat started hurting when I yelled at the referee because black dude, when he was still in the game, none of the refs were watching him. His last name is Helland, by the way. I'm pretty sure if I got that right, if I'm pronouncing it right. But nobody was looking. Somebody punched him in the fucking face when he wasn't looking. Like, gave him a little jab in the face. Not like a full on, but jabbed him in the face. So, of course, he wanted to start some shit after that. And the refs wouldn't let him. And then the refs ended up giving him a penalty. And I was like, what the fuck? So the ref, one of the main refs is like right in front of us a lot of the time because he's in the middle of the ice or whatever. And I just yelled out as loud as I could. I was like, hey ref, you want to borrow my glasses? And everybody started laughing around us or whatever. And that's when my throat started hurting, because I think I yelled it way too loud. Like, I didn't think everybody was going to hear me, and I didn't need to yell it that loud. So that wasn't very smart. I think that's when my throat started hurting for real. In the first period, I was pretty laid back the entire first period because I didn't really know how to react. I'm not really good in public settings and stuff like in wrestling or wrestling shows. I do the same thing. Like, at the beginning, I'm very reserved and I don't want to fucking, get up. I don't like being in people's way, like we talked about on the show before. Like, because I'm in the front. So if I stand up, clearly I'm in somebody's way unless they're standing up too. But after when that first fight happened though, in the first period, and we ended up winning and that motherfucker went nuts, it was all over from there. I was invested.
I feel like at wrestling shows, if I'm by myself, I'm less likely to be like that. But if I'm with somebody else, then I'll be louder and like get into shit so they'll get into it. If that makes sense. But by myself, I'm by myself. I feel like I'm a fucking journalist. I'm just watching, just taking notes. Except for Kenny Omega and Ospreay, I was going fucking nuts during that.
It was quite the experience. I can't wait to go back. It'll be awesome. Hopefully they don't bottom out by January, and they actually like have a decent record and have something to play for and stuff by the time we go watch the second game. But it was fun. The only reason I didn't go to any other games before January 13th, because I got tickets available for everything. It's just the fact that we're in the holiday season, obviously, so everybody's extremely busy around here. So that's one reason. And two, they didn't have my seats available. All my seats, my 2 seats were gone, and I wanted the exact same seats because they were great fucking seats. So I was like, I need to have these 2 seats again. So January 13th was the first game that I popped up. I was clicking all their home games, and that was the first one. And I was like, all right, I'm getting these. So January 13th, whoever the fuck they're playing against, hopefully we get that dub. But let's talk some wrestling. Speaking of getting dubs, dude, Full Gear. AEW got a huge dub this weekend. And we talked about this a little bit on the show, and we talked about it before in the past. It's like, this one had the better stories and stuff, but the matches weren't like dream match scenarios or anything where you're like, oh man, this fucking pay-per-view is going to be so fire. Yeah. And then of course those are the pay-per-views that end up being in the discussion for best pay-per-view of the year or all time in AEW's history, stuff like that. I feel like we can put this one up there close to the top as well. Yeah.
I think the Hangman Swerve match is carrying a lot of weight for that. So I've gone back and watched that one once already, And I feel like the rest of the card was good. Don't get me wrong, but a couple things took me out of a couple matches. So one thing I wasn't crazy about was having Brian Cage do the interference spot in even that match. I thought it was unnecessary. I think if you're telling the story of Swerve, then just having Nana pull him out the one time to stop that one count was enough.
I disagree with that because I'm not gonna shit all over your thing. Like I get what you're saying because I say that kind of shit all the time about the interference stuff, right? But I only disagree because Hangman was beating Swerve's ass so much that Swerve just coming around by himself and winning the match wouldn't have made any sense to me. Because like, how the fuck did he come back from that?
Well, that's the thing though. Nana pulls him out at one point to stand him up at the part where he's got the barbed wire wrapped around his head. And I feel like that alone, I was like, okay, you got a free recovery that you shouldn't have gotten. You should have lost that match right there. And then from there, him coming back kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but that wasn't like a thing that actually went in his favor as far as physicality goes, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just the reset.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's just like that match, the way it started, the first 5 minutes, it was Swerve just getting his ass beat.
Yeah.
And then like when it got to the point where Swerve was stapling himself and being like showing you how sadistic he is, and now he's like immune to the pain because he's already taken everything that Page can dish out. Now, if he would have won there or shortly after that, I would have been okay.
I thought after the fucking the dead eye onto the barbed wire thing, I was like, fuck, is this gonna be a squash match? Because that whole sequence, I was like, fuck, like it was. I mean, he had already done the little Terminator spot where he stapled himself by then, but I was just like, fuck, like if it ends here, and it could have for sure. I was
it
like,
could have ended at a lot of different points because that match was over 29 minutes long.
Yeah, that's crazy. My dog's whining. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go let her out. I'll be right back.
You're good, bro. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. I will say that Ryan is thinking around along the same lines as I do with the interference spots. Like I've always been a person in past pay-per-view matches, especially cage matches, for instance. Like cage match, it's nonsensical to have someone come in and interfere when the entire object of that match is to keep people out. So that always annoys me. It annoyed me about the Becky Lynch Trish Stratus cage match as a recent example. Like it's just super annoying to me. I hate it. In a Texas death match, however, I don't have a problem with anybody interfering. Brian Cage obviously makes sense because he's actually in Swerve's stable. He has the history with Adam Page, so I didn't really have a huge issue with it. And it helped protect Adam Page even when he lost at his pay-per-view and his type of match, in a match where he was destroying Swerve. So, like, if we're giving Swerve the win, and I didn't think we were, I picked Hangman Adam Page, obviously, in the prediction show. So did Ryan. If we're giving Swerve the win, then, yeah, we have to protect Adam Page at some point because he's been taking a lot of losses as well. And it's like he doesn't have the elite to fall back on right now because they're at odds with each other. So what do you do with them? Maybe put him in the Continental Classic or something like that. But then, like, how serious is people going to take him when he just lost twice in a row to Swerve? So I think even with him losing to Swerve this time, he's been protected twice. Once by Prince Nana's crown and then once by Brian Cage interfering. So, like, I don't have a huge problem with it. The match was absolutely insane. I think it gets lost in the shuffle, but I think the Jericho and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks match was really fucking good. So like if you literally turn on Full Gear right now and go right to that match and only watch that match, I think it's way better. I think it should be talked about more, but it's not because it came on right after Hangman Swerve or whatever. I do hate that he's making me talk this much. When I've got a fucked up throat, but I'm gonna keep going. Let me look at the predictions. We're gonna throw up the prediction records actually. Let's look at, so I gained 1 on Ryan actually. So here's the new records. I'm still champ. I'm still champ, baby. I won by 1, 9-2 to 8-3. So I've gained a match back, I believe.
It was what Julia Hart was mine, and then you got the tag match, right? And what was the other one? Oh, the
I got
Bucks
tag match, and I got
both tag matches, the 4-way and the
yes, the 4-way too. Yeah. All right, so I was just talking about how I usually don't like interference in matches, but I'm giving this one a pass just because it was Texas Deathmatch. Plus, Brian Cage has the history with Adam Page, and like I said on the show, in the prediction show, what do you do with Adam Page if he loses twice to Swerve? So he's been protected twice because it's Continental Classic or nothing, and are people going to take him seriously if he loses straight up to Swerve after already losing to him again? Because he doesn't have the Elite to fall back on because they're at odds with each other. So it's not like he can just be inserted into the Elite story out of nowhere. He's got to go somewhere because now the Swerve Hangman story you assume would be over after that Texas Death Match, at least for the time being.
he posts. You see what Hangman posted on Instagram?
No,
It's like a picture of him drinking Swerve's blood, and the caption was like, "You're in me forever" or some shit. It was weird, but yeah, no, I don't know. They might call it after that, but I feel like with the story being that Swerve was the one that broke into his house or whatever, like Hangman has to go up at some point,
well, I mean,
right?
this is one of the reasons why I had them in my fantasy booking of the Continental Classic in the same group, because then they would have to fight each other. And then Hangman could get the win back there or something like that to get the points or whatever.
Clean match where he can't use cinder blocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that match was fucking crazy.
The match was insane, dude. And I am going to do something I rarely do on the show, and that's tell Ryan that he was right and I was wrong. We have this conversation about match ratings all the time, and I say I'll never go over 5.
Mm.
And now I finally have my first instance of what I understand what you were saying. And the reason I have that is because I gave Hangman and Swerve at Wrestle Dream a 5. Well, this match was better than that match.
Right.
So this will be my first ever 5.5 rating on the show for that Texas Death Match. It's not something I'm going to do constantly. Like if it's a 1-to-1 comparison like that, I'll do it. But if it's like if it's a really good fucking 5-star match and it's Omega and Ospreay, right? I'm not giving it a 5.5 based off of Hangman and Swerve's 5. I would give it a 5.5 based off the last Ospreay and Omega. So I'm going to keep it 1-to-1. But I do understand what you're saying right now. Like,
well, that's how Okada and Omega ended up with a 7, right? It's because he was comparing it to the other matches.
Okay, so I mean, I get that now. So 5.5 is my highest rating I've ever given. But that would also be dependent on how many times these guys fight as well. So like, I might give something a 5 or whatever, and then everybody's like, "Oh, how'd you get that one a 5? But this one's 5.5." Well, they never fought each other again. So do better than that one. Big deal. Why this one got a 5.5? So it's also dependent on that. But you were not only were you right about that, but you were also right in Julia Hart's win for the TBS Championship. Now, I said on the prediction show I wanted to go Julia Hart, but
I think I even called how she was going to win, didn't I?
To what?
I said she was going to steal a pin.
Yeah. So I was going to pick Julia, and I liked the way the show was going with how many differences we were doing. So I just said, fuck it, I'm going to go Sakai Blue, because it just kind of made sense to me if you think about it too, with who her first opponent could be. Like I was talking about Willow when I was fantasy booking, what they could do right out of the gate with that.
Kind of the same reason I picked the Bucks. So yeah, I feel you.
I hate the fact that one of them had to lose, I guess, because they were both doing so good. And like we said, Statlander's ready to go to the next level. So I was happy for her. You got that one right, obviously. Shockingly enough, you had mentioned it on the at the end of the prediction show or whatever. Hey, what happens if we pick somebody and none of us get it right? That would fucking suck. But we didn't have that problem here somehow.
Yeah.
All right, so
listen,
all right, let's go. Let's do
four-way. Hold on, the 4-way tag though. I should have won, because when Cash did that fucking move onto the ladder on the outside, Dax was just standing in the fucking ring doing nothing.
Yeah, they both
for like 30 fucking seconds.
2 ladders. They had 2 ladders and both people in the ring. Yeah.
What the fuck was that? I mean, I could have climbed that ladder 10 times in that time.
I mean, you gotta have hair to protect that brain, man. You can't just let that thing out there willy nilly. It gets damaged.
Fucking Christ.
All right, so we're gonna do
quick takes. I was like, oh cool, that's the ending spot. There's nobody there.
Let's do some quick takes on some of these other ones. Now, I will say that I had said when you were gone to let the dog out, I said if you turn on Full Gear right now and just skip ahead to the Golden Jets versus Bucks match, I think it's a lot better than what people's not talking about it because of the Swerve Hangman match. But I think that match is close to a 5 as well.
It was really good storytelling in that match, and not just the obvious stuff of like, oh, Kenny might V-trigger Jericho or whatever. That was like the blatant stuff, but just like the a lot of other stuff, like the way that Matt had like no fucking hesitation at all going at Kenny. Nick had a little bit, and then Kenny had a lot of hesitation going at fucking both of them. And they play that up really well to Kenny's gradual, like, all right, no, fuck both of you kind of thing. Also, their chair tantrum hitting the post and shit at the end was like the same tantrum as Jericho had in WCW way back in the day, like down to the fucking like hitting the post with a chair and the same screaming and stomping around shit, like it was all the same. So there's an interesting storytelling element there that I don't think people picked up on, aside from the obvious, like, oh, well, Kenny's their friend, but also whatever shit, which is fine.
You think it was interesting that Don Callis was on commentary for that call?
I thought it was strange because why does he give a shit who wins? Unless he's trying to pick up the Bucks.
Yeah, that would be weird. I mean, they could tease that, but I don't think they would go. That wouldn't make any sense with all the shit that they did to get Kenny away from him. But
yeah, right.
All right, so MJF and Joe both win, so that now that Joe can get the title shot.
All right, I got a small complaint about that.
About the tag team match or about the main event?
Both at the same time because
Okay,
it's related. How the fuck are you gonna sell that Adam Cole is gonna come out and try to fight fucking Jay White, but he's not okay enough to try to fight for the tag team titles? It doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
I understand he's still hurt.
No,
but
not only do I agree with that, here I'll one up you. Why didn't Samoa Joe offer to step in for MJF in the world title match? Because, like you said on the prediction show, he has to protect MJF's title so that he can get a title shot against MJF. So why didn't we get Samoa Joe versus Jay White in the main event?
And why was Jay White just automatically going to get the belt? What is that?
Yeah, that was random. They just threw that in there like it was a contract. One of the bylines of the contract was like, no one ever said no shit like that, ever. Maybe they didn't want to give away the story at Full Gear as well.
Maybe.
But still.
Yeah, that whole thing, because I was like, because I thought about it for a sec, because I confused myself. And I was like, oh, well, they do that in New Japan. Like if somebody can't defend it, they give it to and it's like, no, wait, they don't just give it to the other fucking guy. There's always a match for the vacant one, like every time. Because that's how Lance Archer originally got the U.S. title.
Maybe it was a
possession
is 9/10 of the law situation. So Jay White had it for the last month and a half. So maybe he just becomes champ.
Give it to him.
Like an Eric Bischoff handing Triple H the Raw World title now. Like it's just yours, bro. Like we're just gonna have a title and it's yours.
Yeah, that's I wasn't crazy about the way that they told that story. I wasn't crazy about Adam Cole is apparently okay enough to try to fight Jay White in a singles match, but not okay enough to stand on a fucking apron. I didn't like a lot of the stuff in the main event too, where there were opportunities for Adam Cole to fucking hit Jay White with his crutch instead of trying to do the here's a ring bullshit. Just fucking smack him with the goddamn crutch in the head. He's like leaning his head out the ropes. I thought that was what was coming.
How many times did it look like Adam Cole was actually trying to cost MJF the match?
Twice, I think.
He did the whole ring thing like fucking Santos Escobar out
he did
there.
That shit like Wardlow
with the brass knucks for Logan Paul. Like what the hell were you doing, bro? Yeah, like you didn't think that Jay White was gonna come over there. You couldn't grab that faster than he crawled over there.
Like, why did it take him so long to grab it back? I was like, what the fuck? Your foot's broken, not your fucking arm. What are you doing? Take it.
All right. Weird. So anyway, the matches were fine in a vacuum, but like yes, I agree. Because they were connected, it doesn't make any sense at all why Joe wasn't the one to come out, or why Joe didn't come out at all. Even if he wasn't out there to fill in for the actual match, at least come out there and take out the guns or something. You know, like something like that. It didn't make any sense to me either. I agree with that. Quality like in ring action, just stories going
backstage. So like, what are we doing?
Yeah, storytelling wise, it didn't make any sense. I agree with you, and that doesn't usually happen. Definitely not in AEW's main event scene. So, like, yeah, I
thought when Cole came out that he was going to call out Joe to come back
because they know each other. Yes, and yeah, exactly. I know that would have been awesome. That would have been cool. Yeah. Or Adam Cole could have acted like he was coming out, and then Joe's like, "Nah, I got this. Don't worry about this." And then that would have worked too.
I think
it would have been like that would have been so interesting because. He saves Adam Cole's title so that he can get a title shot. Then he saves MJF from getting to keep the title so that he could still get the shot against MJF. Like, that's never been done before, I don't think. Like, literally filling in for a world champion in a world championship match just so that you could
But
get a
not to get the
match
belt.
against the
Yeah.
actual world champion. That would have been so fucking cool to do like that.
Here's the thing too, and somebody else mentioned this, so I'm stealing their thing, but there's such a history of doing interim titles in AEW that it really wouldn't have made sense for them to do he can't come out, so it just goes to Jay White anyway. They would have made it like an interim title. It wouldn't have been gone straight to Jay. So it's another weird little thing too.
Yeah, I will say in Tony's defense, he has been doing vacant a lot more recently than the interim. But then it still doesn't make any sense because it's not like they're vacating it either. Like you said, like they do in New Japan where they have a match for it. So what do? You vacate it right there. And then what you should have done was you vacate it and then have Joe versus Jay White in a fantasy world.
I think people would have been pissed off about paying for an MJF main event and then not getting it.
No, I agree with that. But I mean, I don't think they would have been as pissed off if Joe was doing the match for MJF though.
I had to explain
think they
that.
would love that shit.
I had to explain that to somebody in the fight. So I ordered on Fight because it's like $10 cheaper on the Canadian VPN. Apparently you can go to like Lithuania or some shit. It's like $4, but I don't mind paying $40. 50 is a little, but I'll pay 40. So I do it on the Canadian VPN, and the Fight has a chat. So in the chat, when MJF first got injured, there was this dude in there who was like pissed. He's like, I just paid $40 to see this MJF match, and now he's not gonna wrestle. I was like, bro, he's gonna come back out. Like the way that they do these stories is like, he's going to be injured. Adam Cole's going to come out to the ring, and then they're going to act like that's going to be the match, and then you're going to hear like a fucking ambulance come up, and MJF's going to come out or whatever. It'll still be that match, I promise. And he's like, oh, yeah, I just started watching him wrestle like 3 months ago. I don't know. It's like, okay, well, that makes sense. But no, it's like a very common trope, dude. You'll be all right. It'll still be MJF, I promise.
All right. I mean, if you watch the pre-show, you already got to see him wrestle anyway, so pipe down.
Yeah, you already paid your
down.
money.
You could have watched him for free and not paid anything. All right, so let's see. Claudio beat Buddy, which we both called a really good match. Probably one of the better 0-hour matches ever.
Or
probably. Yeah, I would say
it was
so.
pretty competitive.
But I
liked
it definitely felt like they're clearly not done with each other. But it's also clear that best friends and BCC aren't done with each other either. So I don't. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
They seem pretty done. I mean, aside from the little bump from Hook to Yuta, but that's a whole different thing. I think that's setting up for like a FTW thing. I don't think that's both of them against each other or anything.
Eddie Kingston beat Jay Lethal.
Yeah, that was a pretty good match too. I didn't expect much out of it.
I don't have a separate topic for the Continental Classic thing, but we can talk about that. The Triple Crown.
Yeah, so the way
situation.
that Eddie described it was different than the way that Tony described it at the Scrum. So I was confused as fuck when Eddie described it because it didn't make any sense. Eddie made it sound
which is weird because Eddie should have described it correctly because it's based off of All Japan, which is he's a huge fan of.
Right. So Eddie, when he was describing it, made it sound like he was going to put the titles up individually in his matches, and then if he lost in the tournament, whoever he lost to would be the champion until
so
they
keep going.
Else.
Every time that person lost, it would just keep changing hands until the final person. It could like change hands 20 times in this fucking tournament.
Right. So my thought was he was going to lose it to somebody. And then that person was going to lose it to someone else. And then that someone else would be Eddie's last match in the block. So Eddie would beat them for their final match in the block, but he wouldn't necessarily make it to the final. So he would still leave with both titles and everything would be fine. And then it would still do the thing. But then at the Scrum, Tony's like, no, it's just for his titles. Like whoever wins the fucking tournament gets his titles too, no matter who he loses to or anything.
Yeah,
like,
so the way I understood it based off of All Japan Pro Wrestling, when All Japan had a Triple Crown champion, they had the PWF or PFT title or some shit like that, and then they had 2 NWA titles, and they were the Triple Crown, considered the Triple Crown. So what's going to end up happening is you've got 3 titles from 3 different promotions, quote unquote. You've got the Ring of Honor World Championship, you've got the NJPW Strong Championship, and you'll have the AEW Continental Championship. And then what happens is either they're going to carry all 3 around like they're fucking Ultimo Dragon, or they're going to have just the Continental Championship be the main title, and they call that the Triple Crown Continental Championship type deal. So one of those 2 things are going to happen. That I don't know. Yeah, that part I don't know. Because if the deal ever fizzles out or whatever, and New Japan doesn't want to do that anymore, or AEW doesn't want to do that anymore, they could just break the titles back up like they did in Japan. So
yeah.
But that's the way I understand it. And then, of course, Tony Khan also said that whoever the Continental Champion was, going into the next year's tournament, they would automatically be entered into the tournament if they were still champion by the time the tournament started again, which I thought was kind of cool.
I don't think he's not going to have them defend the
Yes,
Triple
he
Crown.
is. Yes, he is. It's literally a championship. And then the people that are bitching about, oh, how many titles does AEW have? The same amount they had before because y'all kept counting Ring of Honor titles. So
pretty much.
this is still one title. This is less titles technically. You just took 3. Well, 2 because this new one is a brand new one. But you get what I'm saying. 2 into 1 basically now.
Yeah.
So like
we've subtracted 1 total title.
that we have to see on TV because he's the New Japan Strong Champion. That's why I'm saying 2 into 1. But yes, it's literally less titles now that you have to see on TV. Why are you complaining?
Well, maybe still might come out with 3.
I mean, I'm cool with him coming out with 3, but it's recognized as 1, the Triple Crown Championship.
Right. Yeah, I think it'd be cool if they did a belt that was like a big center thing and then 2 smaller thing, kind of like Mickey Mouse ears, sort of, but not really on top. But it was like a square total, if that makes sense. And then you have the 2 ROH Strong and then the other one, or you could do like a 3 set. There's ways to do it, but whatever design they come up with.
The AEW logo in the middle of the belt doesn't have to be the entire fucking big ass thing. You could just have it the same size as the 2 on the fucking plates on the side, and then whatever the design is over it. So it's got Ring of Honor on one side, AEW in the middle, and then New Japan on the other side. That would be